Welcome back to another episode of Ladies Kicking Ass. I'm so excited to introduce you to my awesome guest today. Actually, I met this guest when I went to a recent personal growth conference in Austin, Texas. We went to Brendan Burchard's Growth Day together. And I saw her around the room for a couple of days, even before I actually got to meet her over a lunch table at a food truck of all random places. But I was like, there's just something that sparkles about her. And it's very interesting how many connections I've actually made with people that were there and actually had them on the podcast. And it was truly those little things again. I think that there's a huge thing in the universe as far as like picking up on people's vibes and really going towards where the good energy at. And Tabia has very good energy. So Tabia, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. And why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what your life plan looks like.
Hi, first of all, I'm really honored to be on your podcast. I'm so lucky I got to meet you. It was really fun meeting at the lunch table at this Mexican truck. It was with my mom. No, I'm really honored to be here, and I think that's such a cool thing that you're doing. I am a 20-year-old girl from Germany, and I went with my mom to this growth event, and actually we went to one a couple years earlier, and I was really interested, so my mom took me to the second one as well. We're both really interested in personal growth and character development. And so like I said, I'm from Germany. I just graduated high school a couple years ago. And, unlike all the other people I knew at that time, I, never really wanted to start working or studying right after I finished high school. I always knew that I want to do something big, but I just knew at this point that I wasn't really ready, or mostly that I really didn't know what to do. I just didn't want to start, studying something randomly just because I want to study something or just because I want to do something. And I'm really lucky to say that my parents supported me at that time. So I graduated high school 2 years ago, so I'm in my second gap year. And I have really big dreams. I never, during high school, I didn't really know what to do, but then I became an au pair a couple months ago. And during that time, I really learned what area I want to go to later in life, which is journalism. I did an internship a couple months ago as well, and I really liked it. And they really taught me so much about this industry that, I really started to realize that this is what I want to do in my life. And I have this big, big dream that I want to become a TV host or have my own talk show when I grow up. I'd say grow up, but like in a couple years, hopefully. And, telling that to other people, I see their little smiles and I see them being like, oh yeah, that's fine. You do whatever you do. Like, I believe in you, but I know that they kind of think I'm like kind of naive, or, these are big dreams, but I always think, so if I have a big dream and if I really want to achieve it, I don't care what other people say. And I really like it when they kind of belittle me or when they like smile about my dreams, because it really makes me want to do it even more and like show them I can do it. And I remember reading a quote. It was from Theodore Roosevelt that says, if you start believing your dreams and if you start believing in what you want to do, you're already halfway there. And that quote really, really got me, because I read a book once. I don't remember the name of it, but it also said, when you start to realize that you are the creator of your life and you are kind of, imagine your life's a movie and you are the person, you're the director, you're the producer, you can do whatever you want to do with your life. You can direct it in every direction you want to go. You're the author of your book. So if you really start, putting your work and your hands into the things you really want to do and you want to become successful, and you can do it. And developing that mindset really helped me knowing what I want to become later in life.
Oh, that is so beautiful. And at your age, to be able to realize that already, first of all, obviously you read a lot of books and you listen to a lot of good things. I had the pleasure of meeting your mom too while we were at lunch that day, and you can just see the beautiful example of who she is in your life. And what a cool thing. I remember leaving that table and it made me like super emotional after sitting and talking to you guys, because I was like, next time Brendan does one of these, if it's next year, I don't care. The next time he does one, I'm bringing my daughter to this.
You should.
because when it was so cool to see you guys talking about things together. And my daughter's only 13, but it's one of those things that I feel that maybe your mom had a lot of hand in you being like you are and wanting to discover personal growth, very interested in growing and learning and educating yourself and things. And I just was so inspired by the relationship that the two of you have, that you're doing that stuff together. So it was very inspiring to see you guys doing that stuff together. So incredibly cool. Like, I just hope that my girls grow up and pray that they grow up wanting more from those things. I think it's very interesting too, and I want to acknowledge you for actually realizing I just don't want to go blow a bunch of money on a college somewhere or a university somewhere when I don't even know what the hell I want to
Yes.
do. So it's really awesome that you have decided to take a stand and do that instead of, it's so much easier for young adults now to be able to just say, well, I'm just going to college.
Yeah.
And then you get out of college and all these poor kids have all this student loan debt and everything else, and they have zero direction, and then they still end up being a barista at Starbucks or something because they didn't want to do what they went to college to study to do anyways, but they didn't have that supportive, maybe parental situation
Yes.
there, or they didn't have somebody that believed in them to maybe take a different route.
Exactly.
So tell me, as far as like journalism, I know that's something that you're very interested in. Is that something that you're going to pursue in like a college university setting, or is this something that you want to maybe start your own podcast or just go online and start doing stuff kind of freelance on your own?
Yeah, so like I told you, I did an internship before. It was at a radio station, and I was really lucky to meet and work with a lot of people that have a lot of experience, are very successful in what they're doing. And, I kind of came with this mindset into this internship to study journalism, only journalism. And what they all told me was to not do it, because that was their number one advice, to not study journalism, but to study something like politics or philosophy or something like that, so you have a topic to talk about, because you have to be you have to have knowledge in a certain topic in order to write about it. You can't just write, but you have to have a topic you can write about. So that really helped me deciding on what I want to do in college later, which hopefully my college will start in October, and hopefully I'll get into politics. I want to major in politics, and then maybe in, do you say minor, or like the side subject? I want to do philosophy or sociology. So, and yeah, like you said, podcasts or something like that, I definitely want to get into this. And this is why I'm really excited to be here, to kind of like see how all of this works and be a guest first, and then maybe have my own, podcast or TikTok account or Instagram. You can do so much nowadays to kind of like develop in that business. So yeah, I definitely want to get into that, but I want to start learn more. But you can also just like learn by doing.
Yeah. I think it's fascinating. And I think, I love your idea of like minoring in sociology, because I think even just interviewing as a podcast host myself, or as a leader at my company too, because I have another company, and there's so much about human behavior, recognizing patterns, really understanding what makes people tick personality wise. Like you hear of all these personality tests, like the DISC assessment, things like that. Like, quick story, we did that. So we were doing some Tony Robbins training, business training with my staff. And I have a very small staff. I only have 6 employees. And so we're doing this training, and we did the DISC assessment. And through the thing, it was like, talk to them like this, or don't talk to them like this. And it was so cool, because I had every single one of my team members go around the room and say, how should I talk to you, and how should I not talk to you?
Yeah.
And it was so blaringly obvious with some of them that, I have to, if I tell them I'm going to get something done, I got to make sure I get something done, because that's how I value them, in their minds. That's how I value them. Where some of the other ones are more like, let me just go at my own pace and I'll get it done on my own time thing. But really getting to know the study of people will make you an incredible leader and an incredible interviewer once you start on your own stuff, because there's so much with that you can really, pull the best out of people and
Yes.
get the best versions of them when you understand them
Yes.
more.
You're so
So
right.
that's so incredibly cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So tell me, is there like, as far as with the journalism stuff, is there, you say you would love to have like a talk show? I think that's
Hmm.
phenomenal. And I think that if your dreams aren't big enough that somebody is kind of laughing at you, they're not big enough.
Yes.
Because when you are an achiever, most people, when you tell them what you want to do, will be like, because it's so different. One thing I always say to my kids is they're like, "Oh, I don't want to do." My daughter has a little business selling like sugar scrubs and things like that. She's
Hmm.
13. And I'm like, "You got to get on social. You got to sell these things." She's like, "Mom, everybody's going to think I'm weird." And I'm like, "You got to be odd to be number one, baby girl. They're not going to think you're weird when, you're the one that has like the cool Jeep you want to buy
Yes.
yourself, She don't want mom to buy that. She wants to buy that herself. So is there something that, as far as the dreams that you have with that you could encourage other women, that even when people are kind of doubting you, what do you do inside of yourself to still believe in that big goal?
Um, yeah, so first of all, I think if someone starts doubting your dreams or whatever you want to do, it can get to you. As like, it doesn't matter how confident or, you are, it does get to you if someone doubts you, especially if it's someone that you love or is near to you. But what I would recommend is, so I usually do this, and I have this from my mom. She's like you told earlier, she's an amazing person, and she teaches me a lot. And she taught me really to, maybe go into my room, lock the door, sit on my bed, going to a comfortable area I am, and just think about if my time that I have right now worth it, doubting myself just because others do. Because the only limitations you really have are, the ones you set up on yourself. So if you start, like I
Mhm.
said, believing whatever you want to do, it's like hard to describe it in another language. But
Sure.
yeah, just kind of like, you don't want to waste your time. Like, I'm 20 and I have these big dreams and I want to achieve them by 40, I say. So if I'm 40, I want to,
Hmm.
do the stuff or have already done the stuff that I dreamed about when I was 20. Um, and you really have to, it's, yeah, you have to, just like, it sounds easy, and I know it sounds too good to be true to just say, don't listen to these people, like they're just talking crap or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
that I can't really say it in another language. It's kind of hard right now. But I really hope you guys get it. Like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like,
You're fine. You're fine. It's those naysayers that it's one of those things like you can hear this, you can receive whatever it is, and then it's your decision to decide what you're going to do with that,
exactly.
you
Yeah.
know? I think it's one of those things that, I mean, I even say stuff to my kids of goals I still have that, that I'm working towards, and I think sometimes they look at me like, "Okay, mom," But that to me is like fuel to the fire to make sure, just like you said before, that I show them that it's
Yeah.
possible, because there are so many people that are watching you that you may not even realize that you will impact by the decisions that you decide to make every single
Yes.
day in pursuing those goals. It's something like we learned that when Ed Milet was speaking at our event, that just totally captured me, and I've just tried to live this so much since I got home, is that change your family tree thing, like the ripple effect of what you are capable of producing that you may not ever even see in your lifetime. But because you went for something big and you changed things for your family, that sets a whole new precedence for your kids or the people that are paying attention to you or the people that are following you. If you're even doing it on social media, it's a matter of being that positive person, to create change.
Exactly.
Talking about politics, I'm sure that you see this as you have traveled around the world, of the more positive we can be, that's when we start seeing the change in the world that it
Yes.
needs so
Yes.
desperately, is the positivity and the love and loving on people and believing in those big crazy goals,
Yes.
like your talk show host goal. Some little girl someday, Kelly Clarkson or the Ellens or the Oprahs of the world, wished that one day too. And they made it
Yeah.
happen. And they didn't come from something that was like, here you go. It's a testament to hard work and what you can get from that. So I believe in that with you. Like, you just have that spirit, you have that drive, you really want to do those things. And those, like, take that, champion it, fire, that bottle up that fire and use that sometimes when you have a lot of the doubters that are coming around there for
Yeah.
you. It's just so important.
Yeah, you described that perfectly. Better than I just did. No.
I'm trying to help you there.
Thank you.
I can't even imagine how hard that is to translate into another language. I know English, that's it. So that's impressive in itself right there. How many languages do you speak?
So besides English, I learned French in school for about 9 years. I wouldn't say I'm really comfortable in speaking French. I mean, like, when it comes to people in France, actually they speak really fast. So I wouldn't, say that I speak French really good, but I can talk. And then also, my dad is Turkish, and I understand everything they're saying, and I kind of like can talk, but I'm not really comfortable as well. So 3 languages.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
I have tried to learn Spanish just to help with my business, and I'm like, my daughter can pick that stuff up like crazy. So I think that's something that you need to learn when you're young.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, I'm really grateful I was able to learn in school. And that's really cool.
That is so incredible. So tell me, as far as like journalism, let's say that you have your talk show. What is this talk show going to be about?
Okay, that's a really good question. So I was always really, really interested in the American entertainment industry. Since we don't really have that big of an industry in Germany, I was always, on YouTube and Instagram and whatever, seeing how all these celebrities here are doing and what they're doing, and, movies and shows. I've always really been interested in those kind of things. But since I had this internship, I really started to realize how this is not mine, as far as when it comes to if I want to work with it in my career or in my job. It was just too much for me. And since I'm really interested in politics as well, we do have a lot of politics shows, talk shows in Germany that I really like. We have some that are really funny, and they kind of make fun of the politicians, and then on the other hand we really have serious shows, and I kind of am drawn to that direction now, to maybe start something new and have a mix of it. And yeah, so kind of this. And I also really want to have guests on my show that are not people that are popular, but maybe normal people, like normal people that have cool stories and that can tell cool things that they've done through, and kind of like your podcast, to inspire other people, mostly women but also men, but like everyone. So yeah, I think that would be something that I really wanted to do.
That's incredible. I feel that giving a platform for people to tell their cool stories and the things that they have done in their life is such a blessing for me, because I get so much out of that, and being able to give someone a platform, just like talking to you. I was like, you're in journalism, you have to come on to my podcast. I know this was a big step for you to show up here today, so thank you so much for that. But this is exactly the reason why I want it to be different every time. I want you to get a different perspective of different people throughout the world now, because you're my first person. I know you're in New York right now, but from Germany, that we can really make an impact by just learning. I think there's so many people, especially younger people right now, and even I'm 41, like, even that, like, there's so many people that will sit on social media for hours, and they are sitting there judging all day long. Like, oh, I'm not that skinny. I don't have that much money. I don't have those clothes. My hair doesn't look like that. Like, every time you like or just moves the freaking screen, you're judging something. And people will spend so much time doing that, and they actually start following people that make them feel like shit.
Exactly. Instead of like
and that I just don't understand.
Exactly. Instead of taking things into their own hands and start changing their life, because I really think that social media has changed the way women are perceived by looks and by personality.
Yes.
So I personally, I mean, I'm on TikTok too. I see all those pretty girls as well with nice style and like, you know, a nice body. But there's so many role models out there, like especially the ones that are really popular in what they're doing, and they have such a big audience. And mostly it's young girls, and when they see their videos of them being portrayed as perfect and perfect skin, and although their skin is not perfect, it's just a filter on it, but these people don't get it because they're 12, they're 13, they don't realize that everything like this is fake. So like you said, and I also remember Brandon Bouchard saying something like this, like judging, but they're not creating. They judge, but they don't create. They don't take things into their own hands. They don't want to be that person. They just want to belittle their self. Yeah.
It's a scary place to be in that comparison. Yes. Like I've heard people say like comparisonitis. Yeah. It's not really a word, but like you're comparing yourself to everybody and everything. Like my business isn't that big. My house isn't that big. God, wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? Yes. Wouldn't that be nice? You're like, you have to work for those things. Those people didn't have them just handed to them either. That's something I would challenge everyone that is listening to this podcast. Do a freaking audit of your Instagram feed. Everything that you scroll through that makes you feel like crap or makes you go, and you're comparing yourself to that, get rid of it. Unfollow it. Even if they're family members, even if they're friends, if they are people that are, you know, contributing to your stuff, that have crappy things to say to you, block them.
Yes.
You know, like it's not worth your peace. So many people stay engaged with these people because they don't want to hurt their feelings. When in reality, they hurt your feelings every time they leave a comment or post something crappy again. So it really is when people say, I have a 13-year-old daughter, and I'm like, is that really helping you? Which, of course, nobody wants to hear that from their mom. I'm like, is that really helping you? And even if she's like, mom, whatever, I made her think for a minute. And is it really helping you? You know, what is this doing that is encouraging to you? I know I have been super strategic with that with mine. It is just like motivational quote after motivational quote. Because sometimes my Instagram for me is not go to comparisonitis or go to see what everyone else is doing. It's like, I'm kind of having a crappy day here. I need something uplifting for me. And I've curated it that way so that is a tool for me. It's not a distraction. So it's so incredibly important that we continue to share that message. And especially you being 20 years old and your input on that and what you can create to be able to help motivate. And these young girls are seeking that so much. But the sad part is that there's more negativity out there than there is positivity.
Yes, that's true.
And so being the weirdo that's creating the positive content, you know, those that can really influence and change people's lives. And again, those are people that you never even know that you have touched or helped, but you make a conscious decision to do it. So I think even that, like with, you know, adopting those kinds of philosophies of what you were talking about there and putting that stuff out into the world, that's a form of journalism. Definitely. That's a form of being an influencer just because you're not, you know, chilling by a really nice car or house or something way expensive, but you're influencing people to think, oh, you know, maybe it's not so bad after all, or maybe I can do
really
this.
Like that.
So I think you can make huge impact with that because you have such a sparkle about you that will be very attractive to a lot of people. So I'm so excited to see what you end up creating. I think it's going to be awesome.
I'm excited too. I'm really excited. I don't know what's to come, but I'm really excited for what I will do and start my college, you know, learning by doing, and day by day you got to learn the new things, and maybe I'm going to do another internship and then I'm going to be like, oh, well, maybe I don't want to go into TV. Maybe I just want to stay, you know, like writing or an editorial. It's just all these things. And that's what I really like about, you know, life, because things can change every day and you're not prepared for it at all. You cannot be prepared.
No. And you have to act to learn. Yeah. And this is something that is like, I have people in my life that are perpetual studiers. They study. My husband loves to study everything. He can tell you so much stuff about everything. And I'm like, I have this. Him and I are very different mindsets. You met him too, but like we have such different mindsets. He wants to know the analytics of
Yeah.
everything and how's it all going to work. And he wants to have this perfect
Yeah.
plan. And I'm like, I got an idea.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, fall down, get up, fall down,
Yes.
get up. And it drives him crazy.
Yeah.
It drives him crazy. My business will be booming 1 second, and the next minute I'm like, ah, the house is on fire,
Yeah.
you know? And he's like, I don't know how you live like this. Like it stresses him out so much. But for me, the lack of not taking action does not result in education for me because I'm a doer.
Yes.
I'm not a reader or a watcher. Like I have to do it to learn. Is that how I get the impression that you are like that
Oh.
too? Do you learn more by doing or by just absorbing things?
I'd say I'm a mix of both. So you said your friend is really analytic and maybe thinking really rationally. So I was never really that kind of person that was always like fact based or anything, because I can also like kind of compare it to my knowledge in math. I wasn't really good in those like subjects in school either. But yeah, no, I totally agree. Learning by doing is way more. I'm more also like a practical learner than a theoretical. Like although I read a lot and I have so many like quotes in my head that I quote from other people and like whatever, which is also really yeah, interesting to me. And I watch movies and I learn a lot. But at the end of the day, for me, what really also like helped me in school or whatever is doing it. Like when I learned vocabulary or anything, it didn't really help me to just write them down. I had to speak, I had to say them, I had to talk to someone about them to kind of really get it into my brain. And that's why I'm doing all these practical things also. So in New York, I really, you know, what really kind of got me into this was visiting the talk shows that I went to while I was an au pair in Connecticut. You know, they have like Jimmy Fallon or James Corden, all of these people. And I went there and I saw how it's actually done. And you don't know what's happening behind the scenes when you watch it on YouTube. You sit there in the audience and you see how many people are actually involved in this and how many people are doing these things you don't see behind your screen on YouTube. So I mean, I wasn't actually doing something in there, but I saw what other people were doing and I learned that I want to do this too.
That's very cool. Getting inside and seeing how things work, you know? Sometimes, like, especially like Jimmy Fallon, for example, you're like, Jimmy Fallon sits at a desk and he's the one that does this whole show. And then you go there and you watch it and you're like, there's people running around like crazy. That his support system is so incredibly important. And really, that's a huge translation into life. Because if you don't have a good support system, no matter how freaking good you are here, this is going to hurt. This is going to be hard because you can't wear 17 hats at once and get everything done that needs to be done, you know? He can't run the camera and speak at the same time. You have to build that community of people that believe in you, that want to support you, that want to help you with things. I think that's why it's so incredibly wonderful. And I want to acknowledge you for going to Growth Day and being a part of that at such a young age. Shit, if I'd have known this stuff at 20 years old, you're like, my life would be so incredibly different. But those things, I've learned a lot of lessons along the way too. But those are things that I want so much for my kids to be able to be a part of, because it is that information and the ability to build a community and not just take the one that was given to you. Like your family or the place where you live or your church or whatever. Sometimes a lot of kids just carry that family that was and community that was given to them all through their life. And they feel like, I can never shake this community and build my own because this is the only one that I have. So you stepping out of your comfort zone and going to an event like that, because that's some intense stuff in there, you know? If people walked in there on like day 3, they would have thought we were all a bunch of crazies.
I agree.
Jumping around and giving people, I gave more people hugs there than I've probably given in the last 2 years. Just building that community and having those people, like when we got into the small groups there was no one, when I talked about writing my book and speaking, like my big goal is to be on that stage. Like I want to be on stages like that. no one ever said, I don't know if you're cut out for that. You know, everyone that was there was championing everyone's big
Yes.
dreams. And that's what it means to build that community of stuff. You have to find those people. I think so many of us try to find those people in our own families or our spouses or our brothers and sisters or our
Yeah.
parents, and they might not be those people. I went to a mastermind and met two of the most wonderful ladies that have truly become like some of my new best friends because we have so much in common. We're doing business and life and momming and all of these things together. And one lives in California, and one lives in Atlanta, Georgia. And I've been trying to find those people in my small little community where I live at. And I'm like, I just give up. I just can't find this. But you have to keep going into those uncomfortable rooms and building that community. Like Jimmy Fallon has an
Yes.
incredible community. You will have an incredible community being part of Growth Day and whatever else you decide to get into, because those are people that are going to help you get to those goals
Yes.
faster because some of them have already
Yes.
been there, and two, will support you in whatever direction you want to go because they just want to see you succeed. They're
Yes.
never intimidated by the success of
Yeah.
others. It's like it fuels everyone in that room to be even better for the people that are there that they want to
Exactly.
support. So, so cool for you to be able to be
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I think it's so important to surround yourself with people that, want to see you be successful and want to hype you up. And I myself can say that I'm really grateful for my friends that I have, right? My best friends, they are both, we went to a school together, and one of them is in London right now doing a creative writing course, and the other one lived in Barcelona for 6 months and is studying politics and law right now. And we're just all doing like really good at this moment, and we're catching up like almost every day. But yeah, like you said, you can do whatever you want to do if you have people also around yourself that hype you up. Because I mean, of course you can be your own hype person, and you can be the one that gives, you know hype yourself up, whatever. But if you have people around you that are as successful as you want to become in life, it's really important. I don't know if that just makes sense, but I totally agree with what you were saying.
Yes. Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. You want to be around people that
Yes,
want to see
yes,
you
yes,
win,
yes, yes.
you know?
That's so true.
For sure, for sure. Well, thank you so much for your time today. This has been such a fun conversation, and I hope that we will stay in
Yeah.
touch with each other. I definitely would love to check in with you. I can't wait to, be able to come visit your
Yes.
talk show someday. Wouldn't that be cool?
Definitely.
That would be
No.
so incredibly awesome. Um, so if people want to follow along with you and they want to watch you on your journey, are you on Instagram? What's your favorite social place to be at, and how
So
can
for
they
right
find
now,
you?
Instagram would probably be the best option, which is my name, Tabia, with three eyes. I haven't really developed any like
Excellent.
other social media accounts, but I will. I will definitely. I have to get more into this, but this would probably be the most like popular place I am right now.
Awesome. And I'll put the link to that in
Thank
the show
you.
notes so people can follow along and watch your journey. I think it's going to be so awesome. So, my final question that I ask everybody on this podcast, because I love this and it's a big inspiration for my book
Hmm.
that I'm writing. The title of this community and this podcast is
Hmm.
Ladies Kicking Ass. And I always find it very interesting to see what the translation of that
Hmm.
phrase means to everyone. So if I ask you this question, what does the phrase ladies kicking ass mean to you?
I think it's Wow, that's a really good question. And I have thought about that since I know your podcast and everything. And I just really think that a lady who's kicking ass is someone who does not believe in other people, especially men. Because I grew up in two cultures. I learned how women are perceived in each of them. And I saw, especially in the Turkish one, how women are only seen as someone who, is responsible for the household, responsible for the kitchen and whatever. But I also saw how women are perceived in my German on my German side, how they're perceived as equal, as really professional, and people thought they could do something. So a lady who is kicking ass is, for me, is somebody who goes out of the zone they grew up in and starts doing maybe what other people have never thought they could do and be successful in
That is
it.
beautiful. That is so beautiful. because so many people question that. And for so many people, it's a tough thing to get out of what has been the
Yeah.
social norm of that woman in the culture of where they grew up, whether it's a small town in the sticks somewhere where I grew up in Wyoming, where like the women didn't work. They stayed at
Yeah.
home, they took care of the
Yeah.
kids, and that was it. Like a lot of my family thinks I'm crazy because they're like, how do you do it all? I'm like, I would go
Yeah.
crazy if I had to sit home all day long. Like this is my fuel, is helping people and working with people and
Yeah.
being with people. So it's really important that you are brave enough that and surround yourself, find that community that will make you feel like this is normal
Yes.
and this is a beautiful place for you to be and you belong there, because we all belong somewhere and we have to find that tribe of people that make us
Yes.
feel
I
that way.
totally agree.
So awesome. Thank you so much. I will put everything that we talked
Hmm.
about in the show notes and the connection to you on Instagram on there. And then hopefully we can follow up in a couple of years and we can see what you're
Oh, I
doing and
hope
what
so
you're up
too.
to.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been such a great experience.
Awesome. Thank you.